Did you know that England once had its own real-life version of Game of Thrones? The enthralling saga of power, war, and politics took place in a time not too different from the one depicted series. This era, spanning from 1135 AD to 1153 AD, was not just a mere chapter in English history. It was a time of great turmoil, aptly known as the Anarchy. The Anarchy was not an era of mere confusion or chaos, as the name suggests. It was a time when the throne of England was caught in the throes of a fierce power struggle. Two formidable contenders fought tooth and nail for the right to rule, King Stephen and Matilda. Their battle for supremacy plunged the country into a civil war, causing not just dramatic political shifts but also severe social disruption and economic decline. The clash figures led to a reshaping of England's political landscape. A burgeoning new system of governance emerged from the ashes, a system that significantly curbed the king's unchecked power. The balance of authority shifted with the nobility gaining substantial influence over the affairs of the state. This period of upheaval and transition laid the groundwork for the political dramas that we see on screen today. So the next time you're watching a political drama, just remember, England did it first. And they did it. Imagine one day half of your neighborhood just disappears. That was the reality for England during the Black Death. This deadly pandemic, referred to as the Black Death, struck the nation with such force that it shattered the conventional reality and opened confusion and suffering. The sheer of devastation and death created people from all walks of life, regardless of their social or economic status, fell victim to this ruthless contagion. The socio-political fabric of England, the very heart of its society, underwent an irreversible transformation. The Black Death was not just a health catastrophe, it was a socio-economic calamity about a tectonic shift in England's social hierarchy. The mortality rate was so high that it shook the very core of the civilization, every existing norms and conventions. The aftermath of this catastrophe of forced change, of re-evaluation, and of reconstruction for the nation. The population was halved, the economy was crippled, social order was in chaos. Yet it was this very chaos that led to a profound metamorphosis. The social structure was reshaped, laws were rewritten, and mindsets were transformed. The pandemic transformed. The pandemic forced England to evolve, to adapt, and to rebuild from ashes. And just like that, England was forever changed. And not in a good way. But then again, history a knack for finding silver linings. Ever wondered why England has so many words with Viking roots? This intriguing tale of cultural and linguistic invasion begins back in the Danelaw period, a historical era that saw the Vikings, who hailed from the Scandinavian regions, set foot on English soil. The incursion of the Vikings wasn't solely about raising their dreaded battle axes or transforming the English landscape with their pillaging endeavors. It was more layered and intricate than that. Perhaps the most striking aspect of the Vikings' invasion was not the physical force they wielded, but rather how they managed to subtly traditions and language into the lives of the English people. This period wasn't only marked by the clang of weapon against weapon or the visual spectacle of burning villages, but also by the quieter, more enduring invasion of the English language itself. The Vikings, often seen as mere warriors, they didn't just bring their seafaring prowess or their mythic lore, they also carried their language in their hearts and on their tongues. This is why many English words we use today have Viking roots. They managed to leave an indelible linguistic imprint that would forever change the course of English language evolution. This influence is perhaps most evident in the names of the days of the week, with Thursday or Thor's Day being the most apparent example. Thor, the Norse god of thunder, still echoes in our weekly of days, a constant reminder of the Viking legacy. So the next time you say Thursday, give a little nod to the Vikings. Guy Fawkes, the only man to ever enter Parliament with honest intentions, if you can call blowing up honest. Known as a conspirator, a rebel, and a figure of controversy, Guy Fawkes is an intriguing character in the annals of British history. His story begins in a time of religious dissension, where being a Catholic in Protestant England was nothing short of challenging. Born into the faith, Fawkes became a zealous advocate for his religion. He masterminded the audacious and infamous gunpowder plot of 1605, an act that was nothing short of revolutionary. His aim was clear: dismantle the English Parliament and reinstall a Catholic monarchy. He dreamt of a day when Catholics wouldn't have to hide in the shadows, oppressed and mistreated. Plot was meticulously planned, yet destiny had other plans. Fawkes was caught, the plot foiled, sending shockwaves through England. It served as a stark reminder that rebellion was punishable with severe consequences. Yet November the 5th isn't a day of celebrating Fawkes' failure. Instead, it's a day for us to reflect on the implications of unchecked authority, the damage that religious intolerance can do, and to remember that in the quest for freedom, some may take paths that to destruction. And that, folks, is why we still celebrate Bonfire. Ever been so mad you just charge into a crowd of peaceful protesters? Yeah, me neither, but that's precisely transpired at the historic event known as the Peterloo Massacre. The year was 1819, a time when the world was undergoing immense changes. It was in this backdrop that a peaceful demonstration was organized in the city of Manchester. The objective of the gathering was clear. They demanded reform in the parliamentary procedures, a legitimate voice in the very government that ruled them. However, the peaceful rally didn't conclude as planned. The demonstration was brutally and abruptly disrupted, not by any rogue agitators, but by the authorities themselves, the cavalry. In a shocking and horrific display of power, the cavalry charged into the crowd. The aftermath was devastating. 15 innocent lives were tragically lost in the chaos, and hundreds were dreams of change met with brutal resistance. Yet out of this tragedy rose a beacon of hope. The shocking brutality of the Peterloo Massacre ignited a wave of national outrage. It spurred the people to fight for their rights with renewed vigor. The tragedy became the catalyst for the very reforms the demonstrators had been calling for. Expanded voting rights were achieved, and significant political changes were on the horizon. And so, an event turned into a catalyst for... Ever wonder how Britain became a dominant naval and colonial power? The fascinating journey of its ascendancy as a global superpower starts with the signing of the Treaty of Utrecht. A historical contract inked in the early 18th century, this treaty marked the end of the long-drawn-out War of the Spanish Succession. This was a conflict that had raged across the European continent, involving many nations in a complex web of alliances and rivalries. As the dust of the brutal battle settled, the Treaty of Utrecht emerged as a beacon of change. This transformative agreement awarded Britain significant territorial and trade advantages, making them a formidable power on the global stage. Particularly two strategically important acquisitions were Newfoundland in North America and Gibraltar on the southern tip of the Iberian Peninsula. Newfoundland, with its vast lands and rich marine life, provided Britain with an invaluable source of wealth and influence. On the other hand, Gibraltar, situated at the junction of the Atlantic Ocean and the Mediterranean Sea, offered Britain a crucial military advantage, helping them control critical naval routes. The signings of this treaty weren't just mere strokes of a pen on a parchment. They marked a pivotal moment in history, reshaping geopolitical landscapes and setting Britain on the path to become a global heavyweight. It brought significant changes in the distribution of power that reverberated around the globe.